Hello and welcome to the FSF PopCast Live Edition. Well, hello, kids and cadets, children of all ages. Welcome to the FSF PopCast. This is our season finale review of The Mandalorian. Season 3 ended today. So, yeah, kind of excited to have a chance to sit down and talk about this. Of course, we have producer John with us today.
How's it going?
He comes in and adds in all of his really cool theories, and he's got a good one for you today, and I'm excited to hear it. So we're going to get to that in a few minutes. But so like I said, today we are here to talk about Mando, the season finale, season 3, chapter 24, right?
Yes, chapter 20.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, so chapter 24 ended today, and left me with lots of feels, left me with lots of questions. I like how it answered some questions, created others, which I think is the point of a good season finale.
It
should answer some, create some. That way you've got an interest, you've got a reason to come watch, season 4. Right. If there is a season 4, which there better be a season 4.
And you have to answer some questions, otherwise you end up as lost. Correct.
The perpetual... Well, if J.J. Abrams was directing this, then yeah, it would be perpetual questions.
Let's not
answer questions. Oh, I don't want to do that. Yeah, let's not. J.J. doesn't get to direct anything else Star Wars related. Rise of Skywalker. Anyway,
adventure movie. I'll give you that.
There's parts of Rise of Skywalker I like, other than the credits. There's parts of the movie that I liked.
Wonderful.
There's parts of it I have issue with, just like a lot of people, but hey, it is what it is. It's Star Wars, and for the most part, I'm happy just to have Star Wars. But so today, if you have not watched the season finale of season 3 for Mandalorian, this is your warning. There it is. There's what I was trying to get. Kinda spoilers. There's all kinds of spoilers here, and if you haven't watched, don't keep watching. I mean, we want you to watch, but we'd also don't want to, ruin it for you.
And then go back and watch Mando and see if we were right in our opinions.
Yeah, I mean, if we're wrong, tell us. I don't think we will be, but it's always a possibility. So yeah, there are spoilers coming up. We're going to talk about things that happened in today's episode and things that we're looking forward to moving on into the end of this, past the end of this season. Maybe even how it relates to Ahsoka, how this looks forward for season 4 of Mando. So again, last chance. This is your spoiler warning. We're moving on to point number 5. I think one of the things I was most surprised about was the fate of the Darksaber.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to die.
I didn't either, because this is, especially ever since the Clone Wars, when it was introduced, this has been intrinsically tied to all things Mandalorian.
Yeah.
The control of whoever had control of Mandalore. They were going to be the ruling party. Mm-hmm. And to see the hilt of the Darksaber get crushed was a little interesting to me.
Yeah.
I don't think it's dead, though.
It looked very, very not good.
Oh, it was hurt. It's hurting. There's no two ways about that.
I mean, it might come back as Grogu's lightsaber later.
Yeah, because now I have to go back and double check the episode again. But when that hilt gets crushed, I'm pretty sure you can see the Kyber crystal, right here at the end of it, pointing out. So I think the Kyber crystal's okay. I don't think it's broken.
Right.
And I think it still has ability to work. Plus, Bo's friends with Din, and Din's friends with, some Ugnaughts, and those guys can fix anything.
That's true.
Might be a good opportunity to see Khalil again. Or Khalil, or however you say his name.
Didn't he die?
No, yeah, he's dead. So never mind. We will not see him again. Yeah, never mind. He's 86th.
Yeah, his plot is gone.
Yeah, but there's other Ugnaughts, and maybe the Azalians even could fix it.
Or
So,
maybe they're getting rid of the Darksaber to let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
so anyway, that's it for John today. No, just
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, so maybe that's what's happening. Maybe they're just done with that. It's run its course, which is unfortunate because I think it's a really cool saber, and I'm always kind of excited to see it get lit up on screen because I don't know, it's just something about that saber looking more like an actual sword than a lightsaber, because a lightsaber is just a lighted pole,
Right.
But this actually looks like a sword with an outline around it, and to me that looks pretty cool.
It
So
is.
I'm curious. We'll see. I guess we'll have to see what happens with the Darksaber moving forward. But I think that's one thing that will be addressed possibly in season 4. Maybe with the lighting of the Grand Forge, at the Great Forge rather, at the end of season 3 here, at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one way that even the armorer could fix.
Maybe I hadn't thought of that.
I just thought of that right now, actually.
Okay.
There you go. All right, number 4. Aw, it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
They've been calling him his dad for the last 2.5 seasons. So they made it official today. He is officially Din Grogu.
Yeah. It's an interesting naming convention. Do you take the first name of the Mando that adopts you then?
Well, so yeah, so does that mean that Din Djarin's name was Djarin before he took the Din?
Maybe.
Is that part of the clan? I'm gonna have to look a little bit more into that when it comes to Mandalorian culture, but I kind of think that that's kind of what it is. It has something to do with the respect for the master apprenticeship program, because that's very similar to like what the Jedis do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
But yeah, they're actually a family. I really appreciated that. Well, no, he's my son. I get him, and we're going to do the things, even though you said no.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool too. At the at the end, he's got his he's sitting back, got his feet up, he's got his hands behind his head, and Grogu's out there playing with the frogs.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Grogu's looking at lunch. That's what Grogu's looking at.
Yep.
But
great ending.
Yeah, so officially a Mandalorian now. So the crest that he has on the shield on his chest and everything that ties into the same one that we see on Din's shoulder there. But I guess we have to be more specific. We can't just say Din anymore because it's Din Djarin and Din Grogu. So it's Djarin and Grogu.
Oh yeah,
because this for the last couple of years, every time we've talked about the Mandalorian, it's always just been when we talk about him, it's Din Djarin, and I just say Din because I assumed that was his first name, but I think that has more to do with this clan structure than anything now. So yeah, very, very curious about that. I'm gonna have to look that up, see how the Mandalorian culture affects that. But yeah, that name was given to him by the armorer. So what do you think of the name change? Are you interested as to why they call him that, or?
A little bit. I mean, because other Mandalorians, there's Clan Kryze, there's Clan Vizsla, and that's their last name.
Right.
Then why is it different? Or is it different to distinguish that you're adopted? Is that special? Because taking in a foundling, adopting seems to be a higher honor culturally.
Yeah, because it's not Kryze Bo-Katan, it's Bo-Katan Kryze.
Right.
It wasn't Vizsla Paz, it was Paz Vizsla.
Yeah.
So I am curious as to why it's Din Grogu, not Grogu Din, or Grogu Djarin.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to look that up. I know I've said that a couple times, but it does make me very curious. And I do like the fact that they are officially now a family. And being an adopted person myself, it's kind of cool to see. I always love adoption stories.
Yeah.
And so to see somebody get adopted, it just means that Din Djarin really does have feelings for the boy. It's not just, oh, he's my watch, somebody I got to watch over. So, and I have to say though that when he adopted him.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going through all the baptism stuff there with Paz Vizsla's boy.
Ragnar? Yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping that they're like, well, he can't speak, so he can't take the creed.
Yeah.
I was hoping to hear him speak, be like, no, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Because I know that in other episodes, he's kind of mumbled out the words, this is the way.
Right.
But it was very broken, hard to hear. And both Bo-Katan and Din Djarin turned and looked at him like, did you hear that? I heard that. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of hoping that's what was going to happen today, but that wasn't the case. There was no talkie for the Grogu, and they took away his buttons. Yes, yes, yes. It's
Can
the
you blame
best
them
thing
though,
about that
as an
episode.
experienced parent? Can you blame them for doing that?
No, but still, that was the best thing. Yes, yes. I laughed so hard. I'm like, oh, he's definitely getting the father experience now.
Oh,
So.
giving a kid a toy that makes noise is like a war crime.
Especially a force sensitive one who can do all
Yeah.
the different things. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so yeah, Grogu is officially a Mandalorian. Din Grogu.
Yep.
All right, number 3. Is this man really dead? And I don't mean Paz Vizsla, although I'm kind of curious as to whether Paz Vizsla is really dead. I have theories. I'm not entirely positive. But this man, Moff Gideon.
I think at least that body is dead. It looked pretty well immolated to me.
I mean, great. Now I got to look up what immolated means. Way to go.
Destroyed with fear.
Aha. Okay, cool. Thank you.
I threw that word in
man.
to mess with you.
Messing was accomplished because now I'm over here like, great. Now I got to go look up something.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is, they just see they just show the fire come up and surround him, and of course Grogu's there with using the Force, putting a bubble around them, a Force bubble to protect them, Bo-Katan and Din Djarin and himself from the blaze.
He did a successful canon.
Yes.
Oh, I'm
sad. Too soon. Way too soon. Jerk. But yeah, so the thing is with me when it comes to Star Wars, if they don't show the body and they don't go, yeah, he's dead, then I don't believe that they're dead. Right. At least not for a while, because they've taught us too many times, Darth Maul, Papa Palpatine, a few other people, that it doesn't matter if you think they're dead, they're not really dead because they're going to come back. Somehow Palpatine returned.
Right.
Ha, beat you to it. Anyway,
slow hanging fruit. Come on.
Still, I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so there's that. So when it comes to Paz Vizsla, I mean, they just left him there and nobody has said whether he was dead or not. So I tend to think that he probably is dead, but I kind of think that he's not dead because there wasn't confirmation. Right. Just like in Bad Batch, all we have is them holding up Tech's glasses. There's no real confirmation that the Bad Batch, that Tech is dead or not.
Right. I think he's alive.
But. Yeah, I don't know. But with Moff, I don't think he's dead. And because I don't think it serves the story well moving forward to have him dead. Or at least if he's dead, the possibility of clones or a clone Moff Gideon being able to come up through the ranks somehow and take over but would that clone have the same animosity towards, has it been trained or taught or,
was that
whatever
a clone in the armor?
Then again, that is the question. Where's the real Moff Gideon? Was that a clone that he was fighting in the Mando tech armor? Because that was very mechanical sounding when it was moving. It was almost like a combination of the Dark Troopers and Mando armor.
Yeah.
Because every time he stepped or moved, you heard the whirring of the machines, just
Yep.
And so yeah. But we don't have confirmation that he's actually dead. They just said, yeah, he's dead. They're assuming that he's dead because of the big fire, and they wouldn't have made it without the Force bubble. So I think that's probably where their head's at.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't think that body is still alive. Whether that was actually Gideon or not, that's where I'm not sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think that there's a possibility of it being a clone, or at least a clone version of Gideon. Hold on. Kathleen says, I thought it was the armor making that sound because the man under the armor is weak. It was the armor making the sound for sure. Yeah. The body underneath is just fragile human body. It was, the mechanical sounds were definitely from the mechanized armor, the Beskar alloy. And I still want to know, well, that's true.
Yeah.
Kathleen raises a good point. He was upset about the clones being destroyed because he did say you snuffed them out before they took their first breath. That is true. So, but yeah, which all of this conversation leads us to point number 2. Project Necromancer, as it was talked about here and with the Shadow Council. Who is that Project Necromancer for? Was that only for the Moff Gideon clones, which we saw in the tubes? You know, the one that opened its eyes and looked at Grogu and kind of freaked Grogu out a little bit, or was it for Snoke? Is that how we get Snoke? Project Necromancer, which was, of course, orchestrated by Papa Palps.
Right. Yeah, I'm inclined to think
Captain
that
Sparkle Fingers.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think that Project Necromancer is Palpatine's project, just because of the nature of the word being linked to, some sort of magic, raising the dead, sort of rituals. And that's what they were trying to do, is they were trying to bring him back from the dead.
Yeah, I tend to think so. There's also ties here with Commandant Hux,
Yeah.
But the problem with that is that that could also tie it to all 3 of these people, because he was working with Moff Gideon.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, there's I'm assuming it's his son later. Yep. That is Hux on the in the sequel trilogy, that is underneath Snoke. And if it is this Hux, then he's working directly for Palps and working on bringing Palps back to life. So there's a lot of questions there as to who it was, what it's for, where it's headed. I tend to agree with you that it's probably all directed towards Palpatine's way, but it is going to, I think, maybe having offshoots, and a little bit could be used because Palpatine said that, the whole rise of Snoke was his doing, and all these different things. So, are one of those, is Snoke a clone of Papa Palps that just didn't work out and got, disfigured or whatever, mistake clone, a Bad Batch clone?
I would like to find out. Or was he spliced together like Dr. Pershing was saying? He could combine DNA from different individuals to make something different, so it wasn't a straight clone.
Right. Necromancer has to be Palpatine, since the name implies bringing someone back from the dead. I tend to think that that's what it is too, Kathleen. But yeah, I am also very curious just to see. I do want to know. They still need to provide an explanation for Snoke and how he got there and everything else. I would like to see Project Necromancer be the way that we get to that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because it's just, for somebody to be as powerful as Snoke was with no real origin story or explanation, right. It's one of the things that irks me the most about the sequel trilogy.
I know. And honestly, I think that's what they're doing, is they're filling in the gaps, because they realized there were such big gaps left over from not having a plan for the sequel trilogy.
Agreed.
But the answer to any problem with Star Wars is more Star Wars.
Always has been, always will be.
So I have no problem with this. This is a good thing.
Right. We'll get an answer. It's just going to be heavily retconned and brought through in about 4 or 5 different series, which that's okay.
Yeah, we've been doing that since like Splinter of the Mind's Eye in 78, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, no, I didn't mean for them to kiss. They're actually brother and sister. Yeah, and this is how we're going to fix that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. Not that that's ever been a problem before, but anyway. What if is part Skywalker? He could be.
Yeah.
He positively could be. There's I don't remember what book it is, but Palpatine has Luke's hand that got cut off, and he uses that as a way to create clones, and there's evil Luke that goes out there. So that it could be spliced between Palpatine and Luke, and you can get a chunk. Hey, you guys!
Yeah, anyway. The evil Luke who had 2 U's in his name.
Luke. All right, and number 1, the big enchilada. This question I don't think really got answered, and I don't think we're going to see an answer for it until season 4, and possibly this fall in Ahsoka. We might learn a little bit more of it. I'm doubting Ahsoka, though, that we'll see it in Ahsoka. I think we're going to get the answer for it in season 4. Who are the spies?
Yeah, that was kind of interesting that they didn't. I mean, in that episode, there was the spy on Coruscant.
Right.
Name
That was,
escapes me, but
yeah.
yeah. And I feel terrible about that. I can remember when books
Was
were
it
published 30 years ago, but
Elias, Elia, something like that.
yep.
Anyway, who?
Anyway,
Yeah.
but that was the only definite spy we saw on screen.
Right. And a lot of people really thought, including myself, I would have put down a large amount of money and lost it all today, expecting this episode to definitively say that it was going to be our dear friend Emily Swallow as the armorer being the one who was, you know, the
Yeah.
big baddie, the spy. And that's really who I thought it was. I was putting the money that she was going to be revealed as Rook Cast, you know, a Darth Maul sycophant, and really just trying to stick to the old ways. And yeah, and I was like, oh man, it's perfect because the way that she exited right before Moff Gideon's attack and all these different things, and you know how she set everything up. It was like in my mind, everything was like just like boom, 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 all falling into place. And I'm like, it's definitely going to be Emily Swallow. It's definitely got to be the armorer.
Right.
And yeah, no. I'm Emily Swallow put on a back rocket booster and went out and fought with everybody, and she was whooping people up with her forge hammer. And
Yeah, and that is one of my favorite fight scenes because it's just everybody's in the air. There were no limitations to the scenery.
yeah,
I mean, I love a good hallway fight because it's stuck in the hallway. We got one of those this week too. That was great.
Yep, you're gonna fight it out. You're gonna see a bunch of people go down just because there's nowhere for them to go.
Right. But those Imperial super commandos flying around thinking they're shooting at everybody, and then they take a hammer to the head. That's just who sees that coming?
Or a dark saber blade out of nowhere, just zoop.
Yeah. From behind.
Yeah.
It's a great shot.
I have one complaint about the sky fight though.
Okay.
Now they set the precedent for this earlier in the season, and this is one of those plot holes because the story demanded it. Every other time the Mandalorians go up in the sky, I've run out of fuel. They never ran out of fuel. They were going up into the atmosphere, like axe wolves flying up into the atmosphere, then flying down, flying all around. These guys were going everywhere, and nobody was running out of fuel. It just, I don't know. That part kind of irked me a little bit. I was like, all right, really, guy? But I was like, the story needed it, so plot armor.
And I also think about how far Earth birds can fly. Some of them for days at a time. So maybe, that was a factor too, that this giant bird can fly that much further.
Well, maybe Axe Wolves was, just, what was it? Toy Story. He's falling with style. He wasn't flying. He was falling with style out of the plane. So, but yeah, so that point aside, that kind of irked me, but I did enjoy the rest of the fight scene. It was just kind of like, as I was watching it, I was like, oh, come on, guys. Just 2 episodes ago, you were like, sorry, I ran out of fuel.
Yeah.
But like I said, the story, the plot demanded that they have eternal, indefinite fuel. So,
yep,
whatever.
See, I still think the spies, though, getting back to this point, are the Shadow Council themselves. Yeah, because
these fellers.
Yes, because in their conversation, they were talking about what each other are doing that they're not necessarily talking about directly. Like, well, where's Thrawn? And you see Pelion just kind of look off to the side, like, nowhere. But Thrawn's probably standing right there.
I got that feeling too, because when he kind of glanced off to the side, his eyes shifted like he was looking at somebody off to his right.
Yeah, and then Huck's calling out Gideon for, well, you're upset, you're cloning. I don't do cloning, you do cloning. They probably have moles in each other's operations just to keep eyes on each other, because the Empire, being based on Sith culture, they don't trust each other.
Based on lies and deceit and treachery. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So that's my theory on who the spies were. It's a little boring, but I think it fits.
Actually, it does fit. It actually fits pretty well. because if they're spies and they're spying on one another, that would explain. See, okay, it explains them working with but against one another, so that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
But then I also want to know how the Mandalorians, who were the pirates on the surface of Mandalore, because that's the other people who I thought might have been the spies.
Right.
How did the Imperials build such a big base on their planet without them noticing Imperial ships coming and going and materials getting dropped off and hear the sound of construction? And
well, they were living right below the surface.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good enough answer.
Yeah, I don't either. There's something fishy there.
It was worth a try, though.
We're also looking for stuff because that's what we do.
Right. We're looking for resolution. We're looking for direction because we're nerds and we want to have all the answers to all the cool things and what. So, out of everything that happened this season, I have one major disappointment. I'm happy with 98.9% of everything that happened this season. I have one thing that I was specifically waiting and watching for and hoping that I would see before the end of this series.
Okay. What's that?
Thrawn.
Really?
I wanted him on screen. I thought that they were going to bring him on screen. And when they started talking about Thrawn and everything, I was like, oh, okay, cool. At least we'll get we may not get him during the regular part of the episode, but we're going to get a post-credit scene or something today. That's what I thought. Right. We get a post-credit scene showing him, especially because then a couple weeks ago we had the cameo from Zeb, and I thought for sure we'd see Sabine Wren, and so there was a way for it to set up towards Ahsoka.
Right.
So I was really hoping for a Thrawn cameo.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, on all things considered, if that's all I have to complain about, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm complaining about.
And I think not showing him is a great job of building the anticipation. It's hinting at the monster without showing it until the very last moment when it's too late. Kind of like an Alien.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what they did and I know why they did it. I just don't like that they did that.
We want the thing and we want it now. Dang it.
Absolutely.
We're nerds. We want the thing and we want it now.
We're not patient. We want our nerdery. We want it now. Exactly. So, but anyway, yeah, that was my only disappointment out of the season.
I think that's
cool. Yeah, is that I wanted more of the Rebels crew to be seen on camera and an appearance from Thrawn. But so I'll take what we got, and I'm looking forward to Ahsoka.
Kathleen told me she had a disappointment too.
Okay.
She didn't get to see Pedro Pascal's face.
Yeah. Well, based on the rumors that are flying, we may not see a whole lot of Pedro's face moving forward.
Maybe that's why he got his happy ending off in the distance, right into the sunset with his kid.
It might be. It might be. He might be getting written out of the show because the Mandalorian is a moving name. It can apply to any one of the Mandalorians.
Right. And we can always come back to Grogu in a century or two.
Right. Absolutely. Because, if he survives everything, he could live to be 900 years old. Like, we're 900 years your age. Hmm? Yeah. There was a really bad Yoda. Really bad Yoda. And I apologize.
Yep.
So, all right. So just we'll go through these real fast, real quick. Number 5, we discussed the fate of the Darksaber. Number 4, we talked about Din Grogu. Mm-hmm. Number 3, we talked about, is Moff Gideon really dead? Number 2, we talked about what the Project Necromancer is. And then number 1, who is the spy and how does that affect the story moving forward? And Kathleen is more upset about IG-12 than anything. Yes. So,
I'm going to give our kid a yes/no button and see how long that lasts.
It's your house. I don't care what you do for that one.
I'm at work.
Well, that's true.
Well, not right now, but
All right, guys. Well, hey, if you enjoyed what you're listening to and you think we're right, tell us down in the comments below. You think we're wrong? Tell us down in the comments below. And of course, as you see down at the bottom of the page there, you have opportunity to enjoy us and have more fun on our Patreon page there at patreon.com / FSF PopCast. And we've got bloopers, lots of them. I'm happy to say that I have provided that to quite an extent. Kathleen says no to your demand of a button for your child. And but yeah, there's bloopers, there's behind the scene content, there is all kinds of exclusive content, of course, and our newer Patreon exclusive show, the Stargate Reviews, and you guys can have an opportunity to watch that there as well. So, but yeah, like I said, if you want, you can check us out there, and of course on your favorite audio podcast provider a couple different times a week. So, anything else that I missed, John? Anything I should have said that I didn't say?
No, I think that you covered it pretty well. I'm proud of you, Tim. You did good.
Yay, me! All right, guys, that's going to conclude us for this 5 at 5. Goodbye.
Bye.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of the FSF PopCast, we want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, please contact us by means of Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FSF PopCast, or go to www.fsfpopcast.com and click on the contact